I think there are a couple questions. What makes a good friend at this point? How do we make good friends? And how do we get, I think, over the hurdle of I have a friend and you know, we're friends over social media. And is that a true friend?
Hello and welcome. Today's episode is all about how friendship impacts the brain and how much we need it for our health, our well-being, and really with social media and technology, what we have nowadays, is that really friendship? Following somebody on social media, liking something,
Making a video, putting it out, looking for likes.
a lot of what really friendship is might get lost, and we're not getting the full benefits anymore that we really get from friendship, because friendship is, and we're going to dive into that in more detail of how much impact it has on our brain, our body, on our health, our well-being. It's so important and can be the key to unlocking your physical health issues or other, not just back pain or something like that, but even your high blood pressure, or improves all your relationships. It has a domino effect on so many different things. So, well, welcome to Coffee with Coaches. I'm Heike Fallon. I'm a personal high performance coach, and I help my clients with their self-leadership. That really means from leading yourself from within to be a better leader.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Shannon Passalacqua, and I am also a certified high performance coach. And I help women heal after miscarriages and have a community of women to help them come together and heal together.
Yes, and we are always talking about super important topics that impact our health and well-being, for not just reducing stress, because that's what friendship does. It helps reducing stress, and also like longevity, living longer, happier, healthier. It really has so many impacts. Like our cognitive function is better when we're feeling better. And so friendships play a big role in that.
Yeah, de-stresses, helps with your immune system. It makes you a happier person. And I think the question is, I think there are a couple questions. What makes a good friend at this point? How do we make good friends? And how do we get, I think, over the hurdle of I have a friend and you know, we're friends over social media. And is that a true friend? I don't think that's,
Well,
I don't think that's what establishes a true friendship.
Yeah, and I like that you said that, because I just read a book and it had 4 categories of friendships. And actually, you kind of added the social media friendship. That's like a 5th one in there, kind of. So, we have what that one covered is we have, and I thought it was pretty accurate. So there's 4 kinds of friendship, and one being like the deep connected friendship, like those friends where you kind of, like you've gone through thick and thin, and you can call them anytime, no matter what. Those are like those deep, deep friendships. And then there's definitely also the friendships of, somebody that you may enjoy an activity together. So you might be, playing pickleball or going for a walk, and you enjoy those moments, and those are friendships as well. But you might not share all your, deepest struggles, or you're fully who you are. And then we do have the friendship that are more like let's say we're both parents, or like, other parents in school, that you say hello, you chit chat, you know each other a little bit.
Maybe like volunteer together or work in the classroom together, or
exactly.
whatever.
But
See each other on the sidelines.
Correct. And those aren't superficial. Those are friendships.
They serve a benefit.
They serve a benefit because
They serve a purpose.
They serve a purpose. Well, I'm not correcting anything. English isn't my first language, so it's okay. I keep saying things completely wrong. And that's okay, as long as everybody understands the whole point of it. But friendship is a big part, which we didn't say it also, of the feeling of belonging, right? And so if you go to, let's say, a school event or some event and you know some faces already, and even though you don't know them very well, it gives you the feeling of belonging. And those are some kind, like a type of friendship as well, where that are, again, not superficial, but super important to feel the belonging and being part of it. But you don't usually share, like, the deepest secrets with them, or challenges or something like that. And those are the main ones. And I forgot the fourth one right now.
Well, we're just going to say it's social media.
Well, the social media one is an interesting one, because I do have people that I've never met, and just because of social media, having something in common, you follow them, you like something, comment on it, they comment back, and it turned into, it's almost like a friendship, like those ones that when you go to different events where you're not the super close one, but it's still even different, because there's a huge difference of what's on social media and what you do in person. Just alone from in person, like a handshake, a hug, or a smile is totally different than being online. So just of the chemical releases, right? So when we hug somebody, we give somebody a handshake, there is sensation and input to the brain, and neurotransmitter chemical release or hormone releases of, we know hugs are super important. You might not hug everybody for 20 seconds as it would be. But even
we know I'm such a hugger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big hugger.
You are.
But obviously those are things that aren't part of, anything that we do online. And I think that is one big part that we're losing by not
technology.
Due to technology, what we said, right? Because how often do you really get together compared to, maybe before we had all this technology, we may have like met somebody more often just to catch up with them. Now you just catch up with them over text,
or whatever.
Don't even see them.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why we struggle these days with making those deep friendships, right? Like, that was the first friendship you described, that, and the second friendship, which is, the ones you go, you play pickleball with, or you go on a walk with. I think that's why we struggle, because those friendships, in order for them to survive and to become deeper, I think they need to be established in person.
Yeah.
I think they can be maintained long distance. Like, I have my best friends from college, and we're still best friends. We live in different states, but when we became friends, it was in person, and it was because we went through thick and thin, and the hard times and the good times. And I think that was such an important point. I listened to this podcast by Simon Sinek, and I think he's brilliant. But he was talking about friendship and what makes a good friendship. And, oftentimes people describe friendship as someone who's going to be there through the hard times. And I knew where he was going when he was talking about it, because I've thought about this as well. It's not always through the hard times. It's through the good times too. And I've tried to explain this to my teenager. Like, if you can't reach out to someone when you're going through good times, then is that a true friend? Like, there are people we can turn to when we're going through hard times. There are people who are always, they want to be there, and there are, you need to watch out for that, because sometimes that's red flags. And I've known people like that, where they want to be there when things are really bad because they want the gossip, or they want to like feel important. And they don't feel important or necessary if they're not helping you solve a crisis. But who are you going to turn to when things go really, really good? Like, hey, I got a job, or whatever. Who do you turn to? And those are the people that I think are as important.
Yeah,
if not even more important.
And also maybe, when I have to admit too, reflect on that. How much do we do that? Have we forgotten? To share more positive stuff with other people? right?
Well,
Because
I think we have a hard time
we just put
sharing
it
these
on,
days.
people put it just on social media, but
Yeah.
do we share
Yeah.
that really with, people that we deeply care about, that we share a great and positive event or something
Yep.
like that with them as much as we used to,
Yeah.
I,
I think that's
that's something to reflect on.
yeah. And one of my friends, neighbors who I walk with and play pickleball with.
And no worries, you don't have to categorize them.
Right.
They're all friends.
It's like we talk about this a lot, and we talk about our kids and how they can create friendships, how as moms, how we can create friendships. And there is something about doing things in person. Like we live next to each other, we can text all the time. But when the other day I was like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk. And I ran into her while we were on a walk. And so then we started walking together and we started talking and catching up, and all those things wouldn't have happened over a text message. Like, we came up with all these ideas and la la la. We wouldn't have had that connection if
Okay, here's one. I got to interrupt you.
yeah, yeah.
It's called mirror neurons.
Yes, mirror neurons.
Mirror
Yes, I
neurons.
love that.
And what that is it does not happen the same way when we're definitely not obviously on text and on the phone. It's not even the same as we are
Yep.
on the screen. Because there's all senses involved as well. But the mirror neurons are neurons that each one of us has. It's a human thing. And we automatically copy the other person.
Yeah,
And
it's so
because and you
fascinating.
don't realize it, right? And
And
so
if you want to help build a connection with someone, you can actually purposely try to mirror what they are doing. So they feel that connection.
so it doesn't obviously have to be that obvious, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And those neurons play a huge role in that feeling of in empathy and connection, and that bonding feeling. They play a big role in it. So that's why meeting in person or spending time together is so important. And also I think a big component is we're usually more present when we're with
Yeah.
somebody in person. We're more present in the moment than when, let's say, you text somebody on the phone. People multitask, do other
Yes.
things.
You're
And
texting from the bathroom.
yeah. But the point
People
is,
do
like,
it.
but even if you're on the phone, you might be distracted. Versus when you're actually in person, you're more present, you're more focused, you're paying more attention to the other person, and can tune in more and connect better with them because you're more present.
Yeah, I love that. I think also I have a lot of people. I don't know if this is just something that's going on because of technology and all the things we've talked about. If this is a new phenomenon or if this is something we've all struggled with as we get older. But a lot of people are coming to me and saying, like, hey, I don't know how to make a friend. Or it's impossible to make friends these days. Someone said it to me just like yesterday or the day before. Like, how do you make a friend?
Okay, first one step, change that mindset, I say.
Mm.
Okay, step number one, it is possible to make friends.
It is
Because
possible.
I
And
not to say anything like I get this all the time since I'm German. I always hear that, like, Heike, is it possible to make friends? Because the Americans are so superficial. And I'm like, no, they're not. Yes, they're hello, right? Because it's because of that
yeah,
hello, how are you? And then you answer
yeah,
just like, yeah, I'm fantastic,
yeah,
great, even though you feel shitty. So it's about that, right? And then you can have a great conversation sometimes with somebody and you never see them again.
yeah,
Right? Which that is just a cultural thing. It's just different. So I always explain to them, first of all, human beings need connection. They need the deeper bonding. And yes, you can make friends anywhere in the world is my my saying to that. You have to adjust a little bit, of course, to the culture because there's cultural differences, right? So it's just very different on how that making friends and connection and what the signs are that you are connecting is very different. I'm going to say
Interesting.
just Germany, not Europe, because there's differences within Europe, right? But
Yeah.
Germany, it's different. There's like a little different, I don't want to say rules, but it's a different signs of a different way that somebody behaves, and then you know that there's a connection and that gives you the validation versus it's different in the US. And
I have a
first thing
question.
I say, keep an open mind. Second, friendships can be made anywhere and everywhere. You just got to first go in with an open mindset and know that you can make friends.
And this is what I told my teenager when she went off to college. Like, join groups, join as many groups as you can, because you're going to find people who have the same common interests. And that's at least somewhere to start, right? Like, you can start here. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Common
Oh,
interest.
yeah.
I just want to say that's number one.
Yeah. But I would also say at my age, which joining groups isn't as easy, because I keep thinking, like, okay, what groups do I want to join? Like, are there groups for me to join? I don't know. I would say, Simon talked about this. Brenda Burchard talks about this. And
Yep.
it's very true overall. Is volunteer, acts of service. Go out and help someone with what you're struggling with. Go out and help someone, and you're going to find people with similar values, not
Yes.
just similar interests, but similar values.
Mm.
Someone who wants to be there and wants to give of themselves. Um, like, I would volunteer, I work with women who've been through miscarriages. Maybe I would volunteer at a women's shelter because I have a value of helping women through hard times. Someone else who's volunteering there is going to do something of the same, we're going to have similar values in that. So I think helping other people is a huge step to making friends. And that may look different for whatever it is that you're interested in, but I think that's one of the best ways to do
Oh,
it.
I think that's a really, really good way to get started. If you can't, if there's not other ways to find something in similar interests. I love
Mm-hmm.
that you said that with a value, because then you are, yes, particularly when you're volunteering or helping someone, there's so many different things.
You know what
I joined, go
my
ahead.
friend and I did. My friend who's my neighbor, there's a lot of us that have kids who are very similar age, and so we see each other at drop off at school and da da da. And we realized, like, through COVID and everything, we weren't able to connect as much. And so after, like, COVID restrictions lifted and everything, we started having like a moms group. And so once a month, we'll have just 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just go to one of our houses, and all the moms in our area will come, in our neighborhood, and we'll all catch up. And then we go our separate ways. And then through that, we decided, well, let's have a block party
Oh,
and
nice.
invite everyone, not just the moms, but the dads and da 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 and all the kids. And so last week we had a block party.
Oh, that is so
And
cool.
I mean, people we didn't even know lived here. I thought I knew everyone that lived in our neighborhood. There were people who've lived here since 1960 something or 1940s. And so we got to meet, like, different generations. And it was just, what a great way to come together as a community and
Yeah.
make more friendships. And, like, now we feel even, like, closer together, right? We may not all have the same beliefs, we may not have the same values, but we're closer as a community, and now we're going to be looking out for each other.
And I love that you said that because, friendships, of course, take time to build, but you start first with some community. You
Yes.
join a community, you're part of a community that can be, yeah, even if somebody throws a block party, go participate, even though you don't know anyone. And
It's
and
hard to make that first step.
even
All of us were like, do we really want to do this? But we had such a blast.
yeah, and then I think if you, let's say you do join a community and then you're not sure, right, how to get started. I think the number one thing is to really think of like making yourself available, which means put a smile on, make eye contact to get started. And sometimes just, when you wait online, go like, yeah, like things like if it's a block party, start a conversation with something that, hey, how long have you been here on the block? Or, if you're volunteering somewhere and, kind of like, hey, how long have you been volunteering here? Some kind of, start a conversation with something very simple. Don't overthink.
Right.
There's no need to overthink, just a simple conversation and, to just get that started. And it doesn't need to be, complicated or anything. And rather,
can I give an example of that?
yeah, absolutely.
Today, my son, he's starting middle school next week, at a new school with brand new friends. We moved him out of the school that he's supposed to roll into, and he's starting with whole new friends, which means I don't know anyone either. And today they were doing like a camp, an introduction camp for those kids. I brought him to drop him off, and one of the moms immediately started talking to me, and it was so simple. It was like, hey, da 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 da. I'm, she's in the PTA, but it was super easy. And now I know if I see her, at least I have a connection with someone.
And then those people connect you with somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And that you just put yourself with the open posture, open mind, smile, eye contact. If you stand in the corner somewhere waiting for somebody
Like
to
my
come
son
to
is gonna
you,
do.
it is more likely a little bit more challenging. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy for everyone to just go out there. Like I said, sometimes
Right.
you take the opportunity when you wait in line or, to get whatever, a sandwich or, right? Or when you're doing something. That's why, volunteering is a great way to do because you automatically,
You're thrown in it.
you talking and communicating when you volunteering with other people,
Mhm.
I think that is one big component. Another huge one too is I think being consistent. If you show up just
Ugh,
once,
yes.
if
Yes.
you show up once and then you don't show up for like a half a year and then
Yeah.
pop by again, people won't remember you. If you want to build friendships or connections with
Connections.
people, you do need to show up more consistently. You got to put in a little more effort and work to show up, be
Yeah.
part of it. And like I said, it's up to you how much work you put in it and how much energy you put in it. The more energy you put in, the more energy will come back. If
I 100%, we have these, like I said, these mom, happy hours. Um, and there are some moms who show up once, twice a year, some who just don't show up. And it's like, okay. And they're busy. I'm not gonna judge, but I feel more connected to the people who do show up
yeah,
because we have that opportunity to get to know each other. And it's not like super deep. It's not like a long time. It's 2 hours once a month. We're not like becoming best friends. Some of us are pretty good friends. Some of us, it's like, okay, well, at least when we see each other, we can say hi and da da da. And, hey, can you watch my house while I'm out of town or whatever? Like,
well, that's why it's so important to recognize, like I said, there's different types of friendship, and those
mhm.
other friendships are okay too. So to say, like, for example, oh, it's a waste of time if I'm going there. No, it's not. Not for your
No, it's
brain.
not.
Not for your brain. It's not a
Yeah,
waste of
so
time.
important.
Just because it doesn't become necessarily, you may not find in some community the deep connected friendship, still know that participating in something even on a regular basis once a month where you just enjoy in the moment, maybe a little more small talk, maybe just a
Yep.
laugh, but that has an impact on your health. It does have an
Well,
impact.
it's stimulating for your brain.
Absolutely. And again, if it's just a laugh about something, you go home and it wasn't like, mind shattering, deep, whatever, sometimes you had a good laugh. Just appreciate and be
Yeah.
grateful for that moment of connecting with others rather than, oh my, yeah, this is, it's not, deep enough and I can't find this. Like, enjoy that. And just
Hmm.
enjoy that as well, because it is so important for our just general health and well-being. But consistently showing up, I think when
Yeah,
somebody's
that's
really
true.
having a hard time, especially if you're more quiet and you need a little longer, showing up will help you to feel more comfortable, but it also helps the other people that are there to get to know you. And
Hmm.
somebody may seen you the first 2, 3 times, but then decides to talk to you because they may be a little shy too,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
have the same kind of challenges, and they also need a little more time to warm
Yeah.
up to it. And that will come after time, where then people start feeling more comfortable to say something. Now I'm usually not so shy on that end. I'm usually,
I'm dependent, and it's totally dependent on the situation.
yeah,
It is situational for me. I have a question for you though,
sure.
and this might be our last topic, but what do you think the role of vulnerability plays in friendship?
Oh, I think that's a huge one. That's a huge one because we can also get hurt, right? I've
Yeah.
gotten hurt in a friendship,
Oh, yeah.
so it's no fun. It's no
But
fun.
can you have a friendship or any type of relationship without being vulnerable?
That's a good question. Is there a study for that?
There is. Well, Brene Brown talks about it a lot, but I bring this up a lot
I
um
think
with my clients because they have a hard time being vulnerable with their pain and their grief, which erodes at their relationship with their partner.
I mean, as far as my knowledge goes and all the reading I have done, true friendship, you're gonna have to have some vulnerability laid open.
Yeah.
Because when we're making ourselves a little vulnerable, we share a little bit about ourselves. That's how we connect.
And it's
Um,
going to let other people know that they can be vulnerable as well, and that you're a
as
safe
well,
place.
and it's that doesn't mean you have to share like the deepest.
Again, it doesn't mean, and it doesn't have to be with everyone, but there should
Exactly.
be a handful or just like a couple of people that you can be vulnerable with and who can be vulnerable with you.
Yeah, so I don't know of a study that looked at if you don't show any vulnerable, if you can make friendships. I would say no, but I
Yeah.
can't back that up by science because I have
I
not
mean,
studied.
how could you have a friendship without vulnerability? What's like, what
No,
type
no,
of friendship would that be?
then you're basically not sharing anything about yourself. So it cannot be very lasting.
Yeah. And people can't share with you because they don't, if you're not sharing with them, why would they share with you?
Well, they probably share at the beginning, but they may stop. Then
They may stop.
it's probably it naturally kind of ends.
Yeah.
That you're not reaching out anymore or something because there's just because we also feel a connection, right? And the connection
Hmm.
comes also
Hmm.
from learning more about another person, but also, and that's again why it's so important to be in person, because we sense the
Yeah.
energy. There's certain emotions coming with it when we're listening to somebody and they're sharing their story or sharing a little bit about them. But it again doesn't need to be share, vulnerability also means just it can be something that is not like that big important, but just even sharing your opinion about something, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
um but yeah, I definitely super important as far as forming friendship. I
Yeah.
have one more lasting
Yeah.
as far as building friendships is oftentimes too is listen a little bit more, just ask questions and listen
People
sometimes.
love to talk about themselves.
Yes.
Not in a ego type of way. Just that's how we connect. We like to talk about ourselves. We like to talk. And so when you're asking questions,
Yeah, so
it
it
makes
can.
them feel validated and
Yeah, I mean, you
important.
want to ask question and share about yourself too,
Yeah.
but if you're somebody who's a little more tentative as far as talking to people, it's okay. You don't need to talk a lot if you're not the talker. You can just ask question and listen, and that can
Mhm.
start forming a bond as well. So of course, at some point you do want to share something.
Right.
The vulnerable.
My husband is amazingly good at this. He asks questions, we'll just be in an Uber and he will ask a bunch of questions. And my kids are always super embarrassed. They're like, why do you always have to talk to people? Blah, 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 blah. And guess what? He learns so much about people and he does really well with, making connections with people because he's interested
Yep.
and he asks questions. And it may be embarrassing when you're a child or a teenager, but it makes people feel important.
Yeah. And that's another strategy that you might implement in starting
Dating.
friendships or getting started. But in any case, friendships are vital and friendships
Yeah.
need to happen in person as well. And yes, we're a little too far apart to meet all the time,
I know we're doing this. We were talking about this over Zoom.
over Zoom, but whenever
We
we
do see each
can,
other.
we do make it happen that we see each other in person and have a coffee together. And I think that is just what we need to generally do. Again, more of is making an effort to see somebody in person and not just text or call or, social media, but actually go visit them. Make an appointment, and even the ones that are further away, maybe do a trip and visit a bunch of people. I mean, that's what I did in July. I was in Germany and people go like, so what did you do? I'm like, pretty much visited a lot of friends
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
person. Because it
Saw
is,
them actually in person.
yes, which is super important. But it is a big part of our health, our well-being. Friendships are vital and we do need them and we need to have them in person as well. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, I loved it.
I love the topic. I think is so important, again, for us as human beings. And till the next time, if you want to watch the community, we did make an episode about community. Again, if you're joining a community, that's what starts forming friendships in there usually. So we made an episode about community and the importance of community. So check that out. The link is right there. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.